Hello there, Cassie here. Welcome back to another Trinity Stamps video. Today we're going to be making an ornament. We're going to be making a felt ornament, and I have chosen to do the polar bear. So this is the polar bear pear. It comes with all these dies that you see here. We've got a big one, we've got a smaller one, we have the parts for the nose and the eyes, and we also have the scarf for the little guy and the scarf for the bigger guy. Now I have cut mine out of white felt, and I've done it twice. And we're going to be using something that we call stick and stitch. I used this Frixion fine liner pen. This is erasable, and by erasable what it means is if you use heat on it, that will disappear. And then we also have some red thread, white thread. I have a needle, and yeah, I've gone ahead and stitched, or not stitched, but stuck down my first piece of the stick and stitch. And what stick and stitch is it's an opportunity for you to draw whatever it is you want to draw. You could draw it right on here, but I was able to draw it on these and kind of match them a little bit. Then you peel it off the backing, and then you stick it down on top of your piece wherever it is you want to sew. It gives stabilization, and then it just makes it a little bit easier as far as like keeping things stiff, since I can't put this into a hoop to stitch it that way. Of course, Max wants to come and check it out. But what we're going to do is we're going to be doing a little bit of back stitching. We're going to do something called a lazy daisy, and I haven't decided if we're going to do any French knots yet, but this is the supplies that you need for something like this, and it's really simple, and you can make cute little ornaments. You could also bring in some like batting or filling, so that once you started to sew these together, you could add a little puff to the inside of your polar bear. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, once I'm done, we're just going to stitch them together. So that way I can hide the stitching that I end up having done, and that'll be that. But I'm excited about this. I think it should be fun, and these are something simple you can sit in, you know, while you're maybe watching television or whatever, you know, at the doctor's office, and you're just trying to crank out some little gifts or whatnot. These are simple ways to do that. Now, I'll tell you, I have gone ahead and cut some of my red thread, and you could leave it as 6 strands. Here, we'll bring it in. You could leave it as 6 strands if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 strands because that's just a little simpler for me. But if you wanted it to be nice and thick, you could leave it as your 6 strands. You just have to adjust your needle, however, you know, the opening of your needle. And if you're going to separate the strands, the easiest way to do that is 1 by 1, but I'm going to go ahead and do them 3 because I've just learned how to do it. I mean, by practicing enough. So I like to just hold on to the 3, peel with my nail, keep peeling just slowly down until I get to the end, and then I can just pull them apart. So then this will be ready for the next one if I want to do it. If you don't have one of those little needle threaders, or you can just hold the thread between your fingers, push that through. And then what I like to do is just tie a double knot at the end. Super simple. Keep in mind no one's going to see the back because we're covering it, so I don't worry so much about the back. Hello, Max. Honey, this is going to be difficult if you stick your head in there. I think they know. Sometimes I think they know the camera's on, because Mom's paying attention to this. Okay. All right, so there we have the double knot. And now we can start doing our actual sewing. So I'm going to start in the center, just coming in from the back. You can see that. And I'll pull all the way through. And I'm going to go all the way to the end. You could do shorter stitches if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the end, making sure that I pull through. And then I'm going to do the stitches here. Now you might be wondering, once you have that stabilizer on there and you're done, how do you get rid of the stabilizer? So the stick and stitch is easy to get rid of. You just put this whole piece into water, and by putting the whole thing into water, you know, kind of just using your fingers, this will dissolve. So I do love this Frixion fine liner. The reason I love it so much is because I screwed this up twice actually when I was drawing it. And so I was able to just use my heat tool. You could use an iron, or you could use a hair dryer. And I was able to make the lines disappear. But let's also keep in mind that this does not need to be perfect. That's not the point here. It's a homemade gift, right? Homemade ornament. And I'm not trying to sell these, so these will be gifts. All right, so there, we've got our first line done. I'm going to go over here and I'll show you the little lazy daisy that I'm going to do. So once again, going through like that. And so with a lazy daisy, I'm going to go right back into the hole that I just came out of. And I'm going to leave so I'm going to do two because I want it to look like a heart. So I'm going to leave some of that open, make sure that that's open a little bit. Okay. And then where the tip of my first heart piece would be, I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to come through with my needle, making sure that the needle goes between the stitch. I'll pull, and I won't pull super hard because I want to keep the integrity of that a little bit. And then I'm going to go on the opposite side, if you could see that, our stitch. So that way it just kind of holds it in place. The stitch will hold it in place. So see, we did that. Now we're going to do this again because I want this to be a heart. So we'll go in that hole, come down through this hole again, and remember, keep it fairly open. So we've got it open. Go up through the center of that, and then we can just kind of pull lightly, keeping the integrity of our top, and then go on the other side of it, stitch down, and that'll hold it into place. So you can see that we have a little heart there in the center. All right, so now I'll just keep moving, go to the edge, and this kind of looks like a hot mess sometimes as far as like my drawing goes, but again, if you're unhappy with it, all you have to do is put a little heat on it and you can erase it. All right, so I have finished off my little snowflake and my little inside bits, and so now I'm going to finish it off. So it's super easy to do. The back's not going to look pretty. It doesn't need to look pretty, and it's going to be covered, so it's okay. So all I try to do is find something close by, put my needle through it. Try not to loop all of his legs there, like I'm still doing. And then I will pull it through and try to make a knot. Okay, and then when we have that, trim off the excess and save this piece for the other one. So I'm going to finish that one up really quickly. I can show you how the stick and stitch works to put it on there, but I'm going to sew that one up really quickly, and then we can show you how you get the stick and stitch paper off of there. So again, this has a peely back, like a sticker. So you just peel it away, and I'm going to try to line it up like it would. There we go. So just stick that down, it sticks to your fabric, and then you can start stitching again. So I'll finish that one up, and then I'll show you how we can get rid of the stabilizer. All right, now I have a little bit of water in a pan, and all I'm going to do is put this in there and just kind of, move this around. and it will eventually take that stabilizer off. You can use your fingernails a little bit. You can see it kind of coming up. Yep. And so it just will dissolve in this water, which is great. I mean, you don't want to go too crazy since you just stitched it. You want to keep the integrity of your stitches. But that's how easy it is to get rid of it. Just like so. And then I'll just give a little squeeze, not crazy, but we're going to let that dry. You know me, I'll probably try to hit it with my heat tool. Don't want to lose the integrity of the felt, but that's as easy as it is to get rid of the stabilizer, that stick and stitch. So I'll do it on the other one as well, so that we can do the next step, which would be stitching these two together, and we're going to do that with a blanket stitch. Alright, now you're just going to kind of line them up. If you want to use pins to hold them together, you can. I don't feel that that's necessary personally, but that doesn't mean you may not feel that way. And so you do what you're comfortable with. Again, I have 3 strands. I'm going to use a white, and I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot at the bottom. And I will put this through the needle at the top. Okay. So to start off with the blanket stitch, I'm going to think about where exactly I want my ribbon to hang out. It's going to be, you know, kind of the center of his back. So I'm just going to start, I think, here. And you want to be fairly consistent with your blanket stitch. And I'm going to come in from this guy. So we're going to try and make sure that the knot is in the inside of our bear. Okay, so with the knot on the inside of our bear, I'm going to just go ahead and pull that through. You'll see the knot is there. Make sure your bear's lined up pretty good. And I am now going to go and wrap my thread around, and we're going to try and go right through the other side. Bringing that through the center. I want to make sure it's up, and I'm going to try to be underneath here. So I want it to be underneath the stitch. Okay. So now, and maybe pinning would be best. If this is your first time doing it, pin your bear, pin your, you know, whatever piece you're working on. Now I'm going to try and just do a blanket stitch, which is what this is what we're calling this stitch. So I'll go through both pieces. And I'm going to loop through this top one. So what it's going to do is it's going to see that. You may not be able to see it very well. So I'll do it again. Go through the back, and then we'll loop through this top. And it just gives it a nice finish. So if you can see that, it kind of gives it a nice finish. But I chose white just in case I didn't do the best job of doing the blanket. You could make it fun and do red, or maybe even you want to do green, but I wanted to stick with the white. So again, come through the back. And then we loop up and through. There we go. Can't see it super great because it is white on white, but I'm doing a blanket. I'll finish this up, or get all the way back around, and then I'll show you how I'm going to put my ribbon on the inside to hang this ornament. Alright, so I'm mostly done. All I have left is to add my, I guess, my string for what I'm, to be able to hang it on the tree. So I have this, it's a stretchy like a gold. I also have a silver. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece that I feel like is long enough, and then I'm going to tie a knot at the end if I can. And that'll be good and thick, so it shouldn't pop out of there, but I am going to stick it in, and we're going to sew around it so that way it'll help it stay in. So I've been doing that blanket stitch. We're going to do one right up against it. Hook in there. I'm going to go around it, and I'm actually going to see if I can try and hook the knot itself into this next piece, just for extra measure. Push it down just a little bit more. Okay. Off to the side, and then we'll blanket stitch around it. Okay, I'm having issues with one of my pieces of thread, so it's not pulling all the way through. So I'll find out which one it is. Whichever one is shorter, right? And then just kind of pull it. There we go. Put my needle back on. And then we can finish up with one more blanket. And then loop it under this one. And then I'm going to tie a knot more here at the end. Just kind of tie a knot. Okay. Make sure it's good and doubled up. I want to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. And then I'm just going to take my needle into here. We're going to go inside the center of our piece. It actually works better if you do fill this with polyfill or, you know, whatever you're filling it with, but I'm not going to do that. And then I'm just going to kind of poke through somewhere. And then I will cut right up against it. And then the rest of that will go back inside. So there we have, let's back out a little. There we have our little ornament. It's not perfect, but he's cute. I think he's lovely. He's super fun, and this is just a fun way. Look through the dies you have, because they'll work great with felt, and you can make your own little ornaments.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please hit that like button and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And be sure to check out all that Trinity Stamps has going on over on their blog, Facebook page, and Instagram for more crafty inspiration. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great day.